Hello, Clayton County crew, and welcome to Black History Month, the shortest month with the most history. Today, we'll be getting into an ever growing fave of mine, comics. Believe it or not, comics have a lot of history with the Black community, both good and bad, but all very interesting and influential. My name is Summer, and I'm a library assistant with Clayton County Library System. This is Comics and Black History. In the beginning, for comics, they didn't come into existence as we know them until the invention of the printing press, industrialized societies allowing for more free time, and increased literacy levels. This medium was used for distributing information of political and social life, leading to the use of satirizing and caricatures for humor and facilitating the spread of information/ideas. The Glasgow Looking Glass from 1826 is argued to be the first comic, having most of the aspects that would make the modern comic, with speech bubbles, pictures with captions, satire, caricatures, and so on. In 1845, the term cartoons finally came to be. It took them about 20 years. Apparently, they were called humorous pencilings by a British magazine prior. Then debuting in 1867, Ali Sloper's Half Holiday became the first weekly comic to feature a regular character once they finally started the weekly runs officially in 1884. On the left here, we have the 1826 Glasgow Looking Glass comic. Note the detailed style and the abundance of text, like quite a whole paragraph right there. Whereas modern comics kind of look the opposite, featuring more simplistic styles and a little bit less text sometimes. In the middle here, though, is a snippet from the Adventures of Obadiah Oldbuck, specifically the 1842 United States publishing, as it was originally published in France. Note how it's a little bit more simple and exaggerated when it comes to its art style, and it has a limited use of text. This mirrors how current comics kind of look today. Then off to the right here, we have an excerpt from Ali Sloper's Half Holiday. As the use of comics began to grow, so did the opportunity to use them as a means to spread certain ideas and thoughts. Harmful depictions and archetypes for Black people were very present within comics during these days. Arguably, harmful depictions can be used to put people down and dissuade things like freedom, unity, equality, etc., in defense of slavery by putting people into these archetypes. Hence, why in old comics, depictions are so awful towards people of color and those they deemed other. A root influence of some of these harmful depictions can be directly linked to minstrel shows, where mostly white actors dressed up in blackface to act as racial stereotypes for entertainment. The way the actors are dressed and having donut lips painted on them with exaggerated dark skin and often raggedy clothing influenced how Black characters would appear in comics for this time period. As for the common tropes Black characters would often be, and are still pervasive to this day, are ones such as the Jezebel, the Mammy, the Sapphire, the Uncle Tom, and so on. The tropes listed center around on racist stereotyping of Black people as it relates to relationships and violence. For example, the Jezebel trope portrays Black women as innately promiscuous, predatory, and seductive. This was often used as an excuse for interracial relations during the slavery era, whether it was consensual or not. Alternatively, for older Black men, there is the Uncle Tom caricature, portraying them as submissive, docile, and deemed as non-threatening. This model, slave, and servant trope served as a way to excuse the violence of the times, and currently can even still be found commercially and in media. Here we have depictions of the various caricatures. In the top left, we can see the before and after of a minstrel show actor in blackface. In the bottom left, we have a Jezebel representation, which was common particularly in blaxploitation media as well. In the middle here is the film Gone with the Wind, where the character Mammy is the Mammy trope. This is where an older black woman is portrayed as a motherly caretaker who is very subservient and is not viewed as a potential romantic partner, almost seen asexual in a sort of way. In the top right, we have one of many commercial imageries of a Tom. Notice the way that the ad portrays him speaking and displays his docile, body language as he presents the drinks to them. Lastly, in the bottom right, we have the sapphire trope from the Amos and Andy show. The sapphire caricature of black women portrays them as domineering, aggressive, and emasculating shrews. It can still be found today in how black women can be viewed as an angry black woman, especially in comparison to their white counterparts with the exact same actions. In the comic world, we have these tropes put to the page. In the top left, the side character Lothar is the crime-fighting sidekick of the main character. Originally, he is illiterate, wearing leopard print loincloth and a fez. This would later be revamped, though, in 1965 to make Lothar more modernized in the comics, like wearing leopard print suits and much smarter. In the middle here, we have a snippet from a political comic strip called The War Scare in Hogan's Alley from 1896, which centered its theme on war and class. Here you can see the racialized depiction and how old comics drew with the prejudiced views they held seeping into their art. Even the signs he holds is of broken English, while everyone else gets completely normal signs. Lastly, to the right, we have the side character Ebony White from the comic The Spirit, which ran in the 1940s and up until the 1950s. The artist depicted this character with the common blackface caricature of the Jim Crow era, and had the character speak in broken English. Starting in the 40s and 50s, a golden age of comic books came to be. People at greater numbers started enjoying and creating comics, helping the medium grow. Consequently, so did better representations as black people were making their way through the comic industry and finding success. In 1947, the first comics magazine solely created by black writers and artists came to be. One volume was published, but with its anthology of stories, it helped pave the way for more creations. Alongside this new world of possibilities, Clarence Matthew Baker came to be known as the first successful black comic book artist. His influence reached even famous contemporary artists, such as Dave Stevens and Adam Hughes. Then, of course, with this spontaneous growth of representation, more black characters came to be popular in mainstream comics, paving their way into people's hearts. Some notable characters starting around in this early era are Storm, Cyborg, Power Man, Lobo, and so on. In the top left here, we have the All Negro Comics publication going for only 15 cents. Super cheap stuff nowadays, even adjusted to today's inflation, it'd only be $2.14. Imagine getting a comic book for only that much. It even featured the world's very first black superhero, Lion Man. Then continuing to the right, we have Mr. Matthew Baker himself, depicted with his glamorous drawings of some of the characters he's created over the years. Making an appearance, we have Luke Cage, or also known as Power Man. This superhero came onto the scene later in the 70s as a critical view on police brutality, justice, and the prison system. He was the first black superhero to star in his own regular series in 1972. To the right here, we have Lobo, the first black comic book protagonist with his own series in 1965. It ran for only 2 issues, but it was a groundbreaking attempt to introduce positive representation in the comic book world. Continuing to the Bronze Age of comics, we have our more well-known and mainstream favorites. Starting on the left here, we have the electrifying Black Lightning. This superhero first made his debut in 1977 and was DC's first black superhero to headline his very own series. Flowing in next is the famous Storm. Storm is a key figure in the X-Men, debuting in 1975, and her weather-controlling abilities and looks are still iconic to this day. Electric sliding on over to the right is another favorite icon, Cyborg. First appearing in 1980, his half-robot and half-human appearance due to his father trying to revive him without his consent with a prototype for medical prosthetics research. A little bit of critique there. He is a founding member for the Teen Titans, and then later on in the Justice League. Prowling onto the scene, last but not least, we have the forever iconic Black Panther. He was created by Stan Lee & Co. in 1966, and officially joined the Avengers in 1968. His comics often featured commentary on social issues of the time and explored the Afrofuturist world of Wakanda. In the present day, comics, manga, and even cartoons have grown incredibly when it came to telling complex, diverse stories with black representation. Now we have so many heroes and characters that are known and loved all across the world. Here you can see a fraction of the black representation that has emerged across the medium. Notable mentions would be the Boondocks, Miles Morales as Spider-Man, Shuri, Craig of the Creek, and my girls Annette and Drolta from the newest Castlevania show. Telling these stories, there are even more black writers, artists, and producers finding success in the world of comics and cartoons. Here we have Dwayne McDuffie, a writer and producer that revolutionized the comic book industry with Milestone Media, DC, and Marvel. Plus, his work on various animated TV shows like Static Shock and Justice League Unlimited, and his 3 Eisner Award nominations helped solidify him in the comic history books. While the comic book industry is still largely a male-dominated field, we do have some women help paving the way. Roxane Gay is a New York Times best-selling author and one of the first black women to be a lead writer for Marvel with the 2016 World of Wakanda. An Eisner Award for the Best Limited Series was granted for her work on that and was hailed for its prominent portrayal of LGBT characters. In spite of everything, black writers and artists are able to find success in this comic book world, making something beautiful and wonderful out of it. There is still much work to be done with fighting for more and accurate representation, trying to stray away from the still pervasive caricatures historically established. In addition, influences from comics, cartoons, manga, etc. have seeped deeply into other creative realms such as fashion and even music. Unlike back in the day, comics aren't just for nerds anymore, and anyone can enjoy them. What's your favorite comic?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Calvin and Hobbes.
Classic. What's your favorite comic?
My favorite comic is Windbreaker.
Nice. Ooh. What's your favorite comic?
I think it's Poom Poom.
Classic. What's your favorite comic?
Spider-Man.
Classic. Comics.
I love it.
What's your favorite comic?
Don't mind me, just camera.
Yeah, nothing suspicious in here.
Yeah.
What's your favorite comic?
Mine is Nubia. There we go. By L.L. McKinley. Yeah, it's really cool. You guys should read it. Yeah.
What's your favorite comic?
Oh, most definitely got to be Spider-Man. Love Mr. Spider-Man. Probably because he like tall, he's silly, and he's smart. I look like I am. I love Spider-Man. He's the man.
Here we have some recommendations from Clayton County Library System, and even more are available online with your Pines library card through Libby and Hoopla. This video was made possible by the wonderful patrons of Clayton County Library System. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, share, and feel free to leave your own comic recommendations in the comments below. Once again, thank you, and see you all next time.